German naturalist called as Alexander von Humboldt, a German naturalist called as Alexander von Humboldt gave us this study that the area covered in your study would determine how much richness you get. The area covered in your study would determine the amount of biodiversity you will get. He said, as you cover greater amount of area, the richness of the species will also increase. As you increase in a region, the more the area you cover, the greater the richness what you will find. Now, pay attention here. We will use the blackboard for this concept about the species area relationship. We'll understand the concept of the explanation which was given by Alexander von Humboldt. What did Alexander von Humboldt say? He said that the amount of biodiversity what you get, the amount of species richness what you get depends upon the area covered by us. You know, if you go to see, you will find he created a graph. He created a graph in which this was the y-axis, and in the y-axis, he said he plotted species richness. The x-axis was the area covered. The x-axis was the area covered. The y-axis was the species richness. What did he say? He said that as you go on increasing the amount of area covered, the richness of the species will increase. For example, at this area, the richness is this much. You increase the area to this, the richness will also increase. You further increase the area covered, you see the richness is increased further. But as you cover very large areas, the effect reduces. Means as you cover large areas, the richness does not increase that greatly. And that's why you find that as you're going with larger areas, after a particular point, the richness is increasing. I'm not saying it's not increasing, it is increasing, but it is not increasing as much as it was growing further. Or according to Alexander von Humboldt, when you plot the richness and the area on a graph, you get a rectangular hyperbola. This is again something what you've done in your mathematics. He said you get a rectangular hyperbola when you plot it on a graph. And the equation of the graph he gave was S is equal to CA raised to Z. Now what is C and what is Z? You've already learnt in mathematics. C is called as y-intercept. Z is the slope. I will elaborate on this a bit. Alexander von Humboldt gave a graph and he said that as you go on increasing the area studied, you will find the richness will also go on increasing, but only up to a particular limit, after which you will not find that great richness increase as compared to the area increase. He said the graph what you get is a rectangular hyperbola. That was what Alexander von Humboldt gave, and he gave the equation for this graph. You know, the mathematical expression for this, the equation he gave was S is equal to CA raised to Z. I'll tell you the problem with this graph and why was this graph not studied. Why was this graph not used for study? Problem with this graph is when you go, if I ask you at this area, pay attention, important, okay? At this area, how much is the species richness? You will say this much is the species richness. Let's increase the height of this line. The problem with this graph study, when you study this graph for your research as an ecologist, this much area, species richness is here. This much area, now say pay attention, okay? This much area, species richness is here. I increase the area further. Species richness is here. What I'm trying to tell you is the problem with this graph was there was too much of crowding of values. There was too much of crowding of values which was taking place here. As in the fluctuation, I'll rephrase it better. The fluctuation in the species richness was so minute as you were increasing the area after a particular point, the richness of the species, the fluctuation was so minute that it was difficult to study with this graph. That was the problem with what Alexander von Humboldt ka equation was. Alexander von Humboldt plotted species richness on the y-axis, plotted the area in one axis, and he found out as the area increases, the richness increases. No problem. But when you go to large areas, when you go to larger areas, as you keep covering larger areas, the richness does not increase much as compared to the increase in the area. He said you get a rectangular hyperbola in your graph. What ecologists faced a problem was that when you study using the rectangular hyperbola, there is crowding of values. In the sense, it's very difficult to study. Now, mind you, I've used one area here and the other area here. If I would have studied the area increase here, then I would have got value here. As in, there is a lot of crowding of points taking place if you apply the graph curve concepts. So, since there were minor variations taking place in the richness, since there were minor variations which were taking place in the richness, what did ecologists suggest? They said, let's not use these value, let's not use species richness value and area ka value, let's use their log values. Because when you use a log value, you will get a better representation even if it's a small value. When you use log values, you get better representation even if it's a small value. So they said, let's convert this equation into a log scale. In your NCERT, there is a line log scale. Why do I say log scale? Because we'll apply log on both sides of the equation. So they said it would be log S. So here, mind you, we are going to study species richness, but instead of the value of S, we'll apply the value of log S. And here instead of value of A, we'll apply value of log A. So I'm applying log on both the sides. So log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. This is what is the equation which was given by ecologists after they modified the equation which was given of a rectangular hyperbola. This is the equation of a rectangular hyperbola. S is equal to C A raised to Z. The problem with the values of S and the values of A is that they were so small that it was very difficult to study their actual values. So ecologists said, since they are very small values, let's use their log values. So they said, let's convert this equation into a log equation. So they applied log on both the sides. That's why you call it as a log scale. Log of S and log of A we are going to plot. Log of S we are going to plot in the y-axis. Log of S we are going to plot in the y-axis. Log of A we are going to plot in the x-axis. So log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. Now mind you, what does this represent? This represents y-axis. What does this represent? This represents the x value. This you should have done in mathematics. What does this represent? This represents c. What is this in mathematics? In mathematics, this is the equation of straight line. If you talk to your maths teacher, he'll say this is the equation of the straight line. Moral of the story, ecologists said that when you plot the log values, you'll get a straight line. That's why in your textbook, mind you, they have given the graph with both. This is the normal values. When you put the actual values, you get a rectangular hyperbola. But when you apply log values, you get a straight line. And why is it better to study this? Because if you understand, see this, at this area, this message is resistance. As you increase the area, see the richness. There is no crowding. You go to a bigger area. You go to a bigger area. You go to even bigger area. There would be no crowding. As in there would be less crowding of values as compared to here. Mind you, I am actually going into a further greater detail than what is actually needed. I am going into a greater detail than what is actually needed. In reality, what you need to know that Alexander von Humboldt studied relationship between area and richness. Alexander von Humboldt studied relationship between area and richness. Point one. Point two. He found as the area what we study increases, the richness of the species, means the number of species, the diversity of the species goes on increasing. But as you go to very big areas, there isn't much proportionate increase in the richness. He said when you plot the richness and the area on a graph, you get a rectangular hyperbola with the equation S is equal to CAZ, A raised to Z. Ecologists found this to be true. But ecologists found that this graph was difficult to study because as you go to larger areas, the values were crowding because there wasn't much change in the value here. There wasn't much change in the value here. So ecologists said, since there are minor fluctuations in the richness of the species, let's not use their actual values, let's use their log values. So they said instead of plotting log S, instead of plotting the value of S on the y-axis, let's put log S on the y-axis. Let's put log A on the x-axis, and that's why they made a log scale. So this equation gets modified to form log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. The same equation, I have applied log on both sides, that's why log scale. And log S is the y-axis, log A is representing the x-axis, log C is giving you the value of C. You should know C is something which is called as a y-intercept. We'll talk about that in a moment. Z is M. And this is basically your mathematical equation of a straight line. So according to ecologists, when you apply the log scale, you get a straight line with the equation log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. According to ecologists, in the log scale, you get a straight line whereby you get this equation. Now we come to the points which are pending. Log S represents Y. Log A represents X. Z I wrote is M. And this I wrote as C. Now first of all, M in your mathematical equation, of a straight line, M or Z is nothing but the slope. Z is nothing but the slope. C is nothing but the y-intercept. So ideally this would have been done by you in mathematics. So I'm just going to give you the idea what a y-intercept is. I have drawn a diagram to explain what is a y-intercept. This is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. What is the meaning of the y-intercept? It means the point of which gets intercepted by the line, by the straight line. Y-intercept means the point of y, this point of y, the point at which the y gets intercepted by the straight line. It's called as y-intercept. In this case, this would be the y-intercept. In this case, this would be the y-intercept. So that's the meaning of C. Ideally, this is all mathematics. I don't know why we are discussing. So when they say C is equal to the y-intercept, when I say C is the y-intercept, it is the point of y which gets intercepted by the line. Z or M is called as the slope. Z or M is called as slope. Again, in mathematics, you should know that slope is the, n theta wala concept. You should know that this angle is the slope. This is the slope. You've done the equation of slope and calculation, tan theta wala concept. So here, this is the slope. Now, why are we learning about the meaning of the slope? It has been observed that when you apply this straight line concept, if you apply in any area, the slope range is 0.1 to 0.2. The slope is 0.1 to 0.2. Means if you talk of a small area, you find this is the slope. The line is not that steep. But when you go to big areas, larger areas, then the line becomes steep. That means the value of the increases 0.1, it increases 0.6 to 1.2. Mind you, on an average, if you compare, let's say, the species of birds in Britain, if I talk of the richness of species of birds in Britain, or if I talk of richness of species of birds in New York, as I go on increasing the area, the number of species increases, the slope is in the range of 0.1 to 0.2. But when you start comparing the entire continent, you'll find this angle would be steeper, with a slope going from 0.6 to 1.2. In fact, they have given an example. They have given a specific example of a graph which was created by studying all the frugivorous birds, fruit-eating birds, all the mammals and frugivorous birds of a tropical forest of the entire continent. Studied tropical forest of the entire continent, and then the frugivorous birds and mammals ka, when the variety of species were checked, they found out a graph where the slope was around 1.15. The slope was 0.15, means the slope was very steep. Again, pay attention. People will say on one hand, this important concept, people will say on one hand, here the slope, here he's saying bigger areas, not much change. Here he's saying bigger areas, not much change. Here we are saying bigger areas, steep slope. But the point what you have to understand is these are not normal values, these are log values. And because these are log values, minor changes would be reflected greatly. Because these are log values, small fluctuations would be reflected greatly because these are not actual values, these are geometric values. And that's why these graphs are more easy to represent. So I'm summarizing. Just as you go from tropics to temperate to poles, biodiversity goes on changing. We call it as patterns of biodiversity. Another pattern of biodiversity is that as you cover greater areas, the species richness changes. The biodiversity goes on increasing, which is common sense. Greater the area you study, greater the number of species you will find. Alexander von Humboldt said the same thing, but in a graphical form, whereby he said that as the area goes on increasing, As the area will go on increasing, the richness will go on increasing. See here. But once you cover very large areas, this is not a correct way. This has to be. It will go on increasing. As you cover larger areas, you will find the increase wouldn't be much. He said you get a rectangular hyperbola, and he gave the equation as this. S is equal to CA raised to Z. Now I can use the term S stands for species richness, A stands for area, C is the y-intercept, and Z is the slope. C is the y-intercept and Z is the slope, which in your math you use the word M. This, by the way, is your equation of a rectangular hyperbola. I don't know whether you've done this in math. If you've done it in math, it's even more easier for you to understand. This is the equation of a rectangular hyperbola. What ecologists said that this is a problem in studying because in this part of the graph, the value fluctuation is less, so it's very difficult to study. So they said instead of using this equation, instead of using actual values, let's use log values. So when they used log values, this equation was modified to this. They applied log on both the sides, that's why it's called as log scale. So this equation, when you use the log values, you get log S is equal to log A plus log C plus Z log A. Now this equation when you apply in a graph, this is the y-axis, this is the C, that is y-intercept, this is mx, this is the slope, and this is the x-axis. You get this equation. Iska graphical equation is y is equal to c plus mx, and y is equal to c plus mx is the equation of a straight line. So ecologists said that we should use this method to study the species area relationship. They said instead of using this method to study, instead of using this graph to study, it's better to use this graph to study because here you will get lesser crowding of values. And this was the equation of a straight line. So they said if values, you will get rectangular hyperbola with equation of this. When you use log values, when you use a log scale, you get a straight line with an equation of this. And why is it better to study the log scale? It is better to study log scale because the variation can be studied in a better manner. And this is what you will see in your textbook. In your textbook, you'll have this equation, this one. Okay, what does S mean? S means the species richness, which is y-axis. What is log of A? It is the log values of area, which is in your x-axis. What does C mean? The y-intercept. The y-intercept, the point at which the slope intercepts the y-axis. This basically you've done in your mathematics. So C is the y-intercept. What is Z? It is nothing but M, which is nothing but the slope, your tan theta value. So this is this. So they have, if I use mathematical terms, if I convert this into a mathematical term, I will get the equation of the straight line. This is not in your textbook. If you want to copy, you can copy. And why did ecologists prefer this method to study? Because ecologists found out that then the variations are easy to study. Ecologists found out that in most areas, the slope is 0.1 to 0.2. If you talk of Britain, if you talk of New York, if you talk of a small country. So if I'm talking of Britain as a country, or if I'm talking New York as a state, then the slope is not much, 0.1 to 0.2, but it's constant. And because it's in the range of 0.1 to 0.2, it's easy to study. At the same time, if you cover a larger area, if you cover continents, then the slope will be more steep. 0.6 to 1.2. उसमें one specific example is the value of Z, mind you, the value of Z being 1.15 when they were studying frugivorous birds and mammals of tropical forests of the continents. Right? So mind you, this is an example under this. So frugivorous birds of tropical forest ka slope is 1.15. It's an example under this. On an average, this is what is the slope. Again, moral of the story, because we are using log values, the variation is very easy to study. My point is, because we use log values, the variation is very easy to study is because we are getting a straight line, so the slope is better. This wouldn't have been possible by using Alexander von Humboldt's rectangular hyperbola. So the entire concept here basically, which has not been greatly explained in NCERT, is that this is not that easy to study. This is easy to study is because the variation are more pronounced. And why do we not need variation to be more pronounced? Because as you go to larger area, there are very small fluctuations. So those small fluctuations should be easily detected by your graphs. So which graphs to be used? Which graphs to be used? These graphs to be used. Log scales. Because log scales will give you the equation of a straight line.